Welcome back. Well, lithium has recently become a rising commodity star, essential for electric vehicle production. Canada doesn't currently produce lithium, but some provinces like Quebec and Newfoundland could be home to significant metal deposits. The only concern is the extraction, as with any mining activity, will have environmental hazards. For more on the pros and cons of lithium extraction and production, we're joined by Tom Rand, managing partner of ArcTern Ventures. Welcome, Tom. I guess the first question is, Canada doesn't currently produce lithium, but has about 2.5% of the world's known lithium deposits. So what really could our role be when it comes to helping with this production?
Well, there's a few ways I think we can play a role, and we already are. I mean, one is of course, the assets that sit on our own territories, and that's the mining side. And Canada has a long and proud history of mining. We are decently regulated most of the time. Our regulators know what they're doing most of the time. And so I think we would be a pretty good producer of lithium in terms of environmental standards. You got to look out for it, let the regulators do their work, let the engineers do their work, but that's the easy part. I mean, there are other ways in which we play. I mean, we are a mining powerhouse, where we mine all over the world. Canadian mining companies are present globally. The Toronto Stock Exchange is a center of financial activity for that. There's no reason we couldn't do the same on lithium. We mine it wherever it is. I think more interestingly, though, there are Canadian technologies that, one, allow lithium to be recycled. So Li-Cycle is a company that's raised a fair bit of capital that can recycle the lithium from batteries that are out of life. And there are other companies like Summit Nanotech, a great startup, very savvy entrepreneur, who has technology where you can extract lithium, again, globally out of brine water. So Canada has many ways to play in the lithium value stack, as well as, I hope, adding value to that lithium and actually producing cells and or battery packs, which have more value than the core resource itself.
Well, talking about the value, what is the production cost of lithium extraction outside of Canada versus to extracting it here in our own backyard?
I don't think there's going to be a huge cost differential there. I mean, one of the downsides is in China, they have very little regulatory oversight. And so producing lithium, there's different ways to produce it. The way they produce it in China is very dirty, and they just dump their effluent in the ocean. And so Canada doesn't allow that. And so that's one of the reasons why we don't produce lithium today in the same way. But hard rock lithium is different. It's a different process. So again, it's a matter of putting in the regulatory controls to ensure that we're environmentally best stewards and dealing with the economics of that. And I think when you look at the value chains of lithium going through the cycle, through the batteries and through the cars, there is a much, much heavier emphasis today on full life cycle analysis of those pollutants, including carbon dioxide, for example. So I think Quebec is very well positioned to be a clean, green producer of lithium. There are local concerns. We do. They deal with those concerns through the regulatory environment. So I think we could be a good, low-cost, clean producer of lithium.
On the other hand, we have heard from many experts that say we need to add at least 300 mines globally to meet current demand. What environmental effect will that have as we watch demand increase as more and more of us buy electric vehicles?
Yeah, there's no question we need to massively increase the amount of lithium we produce for the EV industry. I mean, the alternative is we continue to mine fossil fuels. Forget, fossil fuels are also mined, right? We have tailings ponds in Alberta, largest in the world. So it's, mining lithium and other metals for a car is a one-time affair. You produce the car, then that car is emissions free, depending on where you get your electricity from. When we produce an internal combustion engine, we are mining fossil fuels for the lifetime of that car, and it is orders of magnitude more stuff that we take out of the ground to feed that car or that truck than we would an EV. So look, we have no choice but to electrify transport. This is not an option. This is a must do over the next 10 or 15 years. The world is doing it very quickly. People are positioning themselves for value in this space very quickly. 13% of EV sales globally are EVs today. Nobody saw that coming. We have to feed that beast. There's no question. We need to do it responsibly. But the notion that we're not going to mine lithium because we don't want to deal with converting transport to EVs is naive in the extreme, given the necessity to get off fossil fuels, frankly.
Could it be argued, though, that we're trading fossil fuel pollution for lithium pollution as we move in this direction?
Fossil fuel pollution will bring our civilization to its knees. Climate risk is no joke. We are talking about 3 to 4 degrees of warming right now. As I said, we have no choice but to get off the internal combustion engine. So unless we're going to do away with cars altogether, knock your socks off, those who want to go without cars. I think it's a great choice. Bicycle, I have one in downtown Toronto, I have no car here. But the world will use cars. And so again, I say it's naive to think we can avoid extracting lithium because we're going to continue to use cars, and they're going to be fossil fuel, they're going to be electric. And the choice has to be electric. Lithium extraction needs to be clean. There are legitimate concerns about getting it out of the ground. Those concerns, frankly, are child's play, table stakes, compared to dealing with climate risk, which is existential in nature. So let's view those risks one for the other. I'll take lithium anytime.
Well, I guess the other concern would be, though, that when we think of batteries made from lithium, they start degrading as soon as they leave the factory, and then they'll last 2 to 3 years. And if your battery dies in your car, you essentially have to replace the entire car if it's an electric vehicle. Is there anything that might be done to extend the lifespan of lithium to make it more acceptable to some people?
Oh, 100%. They do last more than 2 to 3 years. They're lasting up to 10 years now. If you look at the ability of technology and industry to recycle what it produces, it's pretty deep if the incentives are there. Pretty much all the copper that the United States uses is recycled material. There's very little new copper goes into that ecosystem. That's a boatload of metal. The same will happen with lithium eventually. These batteries will be recycled. Like I said, Li-Cycle's already got technology that's out there doing it. And I think the car manufacturers are heavily invested. I mean, the bottleneck is battery production. It will be battery production for some time to come. It's the most expensive part of that car. And so the battery makers, the car makers, will want to be a full closed loop cycle on that material. They'll want to get their own batteries back. I predict Volkswagen, Ford, Tesla, and all the rest of them will have a program whereby they take old batteries in exchange for new ones because they want to mine those valuable materials from their own cars. And eventually, lithium and battery materials will be like copper. It will be a fully closed loop system. But to get there, absolutely, we have to open a boatload of new mines to get us to the point where there's enough material in the system that can be recycled.